This should be a much better transition, but I apparently can't figure out how to click the buttons in the right order. Welcome everybody to the New Standards live stream. Kind of. I was going to call it a podcast, but it's really a live stream. Today we've got Alts again, co-host extraordinaire, and we also have Daniel, aka Metaversal. Alts, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. It's nice to see a fresh face on here and put a face behind the Metaversal mask that we know. But yeah, don't mind me in chill mode today. Something's up with my camera.
So you're gonna hide behind the mask?
I'm just gonna hide behind the man behind the mask this morning. Yeah.
Yeah, you fucking robot. All right.
The mask revealed. We're waiting for you all.
Metaversal, good morning. How you doing? How you doing?
Good morning. Doing great. I was trying to figure out how to stream this, but I need to create an account and everything. So I'm just going to bypass that for now.
And that's okay. You can get it after. All right. I will say, what do you think we should be doing here from a style perspective? Let's get some feedback. Again, if you want to hop in the comments, just if you're on YouTube, you can chat with us. If you're on X, you can chat with us. All you have to do is get into the comment section and feedback. So I want to know, do you like the circles? Do you like the squares with rounded corners? Or do you like the large full screen rectangles? Dan, you first. What do you like?
I think I like the full screen.
You like the full screen? Yeah.
Definitely not the squares. Squares suck. It's either full screen or circles.
I feel like the circles get lost, right? Like I do appreciate the background, but I feel like we're lost a little bit. This is two Hollywood squares.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go with the full screen. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm gonna change this style.
One sec. Let me close the door.
Oh, sure. Please do. But don't run on that treadmill.
Yeah, next week, actually do the show on the treadmill. That'd be cool. I mean, I've got one of those mini ones that sits under my desk. It's pretty awesome.
Oh shit. Alts, how was your weekend?
It was pretty cool, pretty chill. I'm over the cold. I'm over the cold weather. Rob, full screen for sure. I'm in Texas, so like Alts meta heads. Oh, that's my tag. I thought that was a comment again. I was like, who said that? But no, I mean, I'm over the cold. We're getting more freezing this week, but it's nothing like what you guys deal with. But still, like, it sucks. I'm ready for it to be over.
Yeah, I feel like I've been living on Hoth for like the last few days. If you don't know Hoth, then obviously you don't love Star Wars, and you can just tune out right now. Just end the live stream. Get out.
Sweet feels. GM.
You close the door, Dan?
Yeah. It's been cold here too a little bit. It got down to like -3 or something. I'm in Milwaukee. Usually it's not that bad. Actually, it's been a pretty good winter, to be honest. I feel like it's kind of like a little hidden gem over here. People think it's freezing cold, but honestly, the weather is actually pretty good most of the time. So they'll get a little bit of snow and it'll kind of just melt off. And then every once in a while, we'll get kind of like a little bit bigger of a dump. But I am looking forward to Denver because it's like going to be 65 degrees there. So, it's flip-flops and shorts and sunglasses.
Oh, man. That's going to be tough because I'm a big guy and, I don't do changes in weather fast well. Yeah, I don't want to be sweating.
But it's perfect though. It's like 55 to 65 degrees. Beautiful.
You consider that perfect?
Oh yeah.
And that's that's chilly for me. Like to me, like, man.
You're in Texas, of course. It's
yeah. Well, but like I want to say, probably St. Martin, an island in the Caribbean. the Dutch owned side, not the French. But that was like some of the best weather. The weather was so perfect. It's like you don't experience weather, if that makes sense. It's like
Interesting.
you don't have a sense of it being hot or cold. You're just alive. It was super nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've been all over the place: California, New Mexico, Wisconsin. California's overrated. New Mexico is pretty nice actually for your weather.
What part of New Mexico?
Las Cruces.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah,
nice area.
it's
Yeah.
like near El Paso. Yeah. And then Wisconsin. It's actually not. People tried to scare the crap out of me when I came here. Like, dude, have you ever been in that kind of weather before? I'm like, no, I'm just gonna, get it. Make sure you got some nice open spaces in your place with some nice windows. So it doesn't feel like you're cooped up. And the nice thing about it being on the west side of the lake is you really don't get all of the heavy wind that comes across. See, if you're over on the other side and you get you're in Ohio or Buffalo, you get huge dumps of snow and it's freezing cold and wind is crazy. So you want to be over here in Milwaukee. It's it's underrated in my opinion.
That's why they call it the good land, right? It's Milwaukee,
Yeah.
the good land. That's
it's the good.
reference to Wayne's World for everyone who is not of my generation. Sweetfield says, I'm in Norway. I go swimming while it's snowing. Okay, two things about that, Sweetfields. One, epic. Norway. Of course, I'd get to Norway. I might think something else, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, Sweetfields is, swimming like a Viking in the fjord, right? And then afterwards, he'll get his battle axe and go do some cool shit. Meanwhile, if I went to Norway, I'd be freezing my ass off. But in my world, you're swimming under the northern lights. We got the aurora borealis. This is an epic scene, and I'm very jealous, actually envious, because I've never been to Norway.
Yeah, I've seen those videos where they do those ice plunges, and it's like, wow, that's crazy. That's
pretty
nuts.
healthy for you, though. I think
it is supposed to be good for. So is taking cold showers, but I don't know. That sounds that's a little bit extreme.
We don't need
me.
cold showers. We're already getting crypto.
Yeah, true. It's
We get them on the reg.
It's like an eternal cold shower.
I'm on the other side of that. I want the hottest possible fucking shower that I can get.
Yeah.
I'm actually adjusting the regulator inside of the faucet so it burns me when I step in. I want to feel the sear on my skin so it locks the juices in.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
You need some relief from the cold showers of crypto.
Absolutely. All right. I guess on that note, why don't I throw this up on the stage here, because I saw this and thought it was funny right out the gate. This is a tweet from Bold Leonidas, which says, man, that's brutal. Which token is this? And then all of them. I bring this up because, one, it's funny to laugh. Well, I should say laughing helps get us through the pain, right? And then two, because we're actually going to talk some tokenomics with Metaversal. Look at that banner across the bottom. It's almost like we're like a professional setup here. So, guys, how are you holding up with this ongoing market dump? I mean, it's just I think it's good. It's wiping out a bunch of people who needed to leave anyway, just not be probably around because they're exploiting us all. But
yeah,
it is painful if you're in a utility coin or something that has real value, because you've just found no traction in this market. And this is not just us in the LUKSO community. This is any utility coin. You're getting absolutely slaughtered right now.
I mean, it's nothing new. As soon as Trump dropped a coin, I already knew this was coming. Because every time you get this flush out, and it takes a while for that money to get extracted and to get reoriented, right? And it usually ends up in utility coins. It just takes some time. So that I definitely expected this. It's just, this is funny this time because now even the Ethereum community is going through the same shit. Normally they don't have to deal with it on this level, so that's kind of comical. But I mean, yeah, I think it is what it is. It's part of the natural healing process.
Is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Metaversal, how you holding up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, holding LUKSO is painful. and just, any altcoins pretty much. I mean, I like Polkadot too, and, I mean, look at the development that's going on in that blockchain, and, they've got, good developers, and, the prices just continues to tank, but, it's a market, it has its ups and its downs. Um, and, the reality is that, it's all about liquidity. So follow the money. And we can talk more about that if you want. I mean, I can break down an entire analysis. I'm basically, well, I have a background in finance essentially. And I'm a stock investor, real estate investor, crypto investor. A little bit more new to the crypto investing. I've been investing in real estate for a while, and stocks, and I kind of transitioned into crypto. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of macroeconomics behind everything that's going on. So we can talk more about that if you guys want to get into it a little.
Hey, man, I think people love money, so let's follow the money. Like,
Follow
what
the
the hell? Let's. I know you had queued up before some tokenomics around LUKSO. I mean, give people what you're thinking. Give the people what they want. They want to know where the money is and how they're going to make it and or lose it. So, like, go ahead.
Well, let's talk about macro first. So, why have we seen this insane pump in the last, decade or so, even the last 15 years? Like, stock markets straight up, basically. Well, it's because money supply. I mean, when they started doing the, you know, quantitative easing, I mean, basically it's just printing money. That's what they're doing. So the value of your money, and how does money work? Okay. Um, Basically money gets loaned into existence, right? So, it's all most of it's leverage and borrowed into existence. And then we trade internationally, right? So uh, we buy goods from China, we give them dollars. What does China do with the dollars? I mean, it doesn't really matter what they do with the dollars, because at the end of the day, the dollars have to come back to the United States, because that's what they're for. They're for use of goods and services or buying assets in the United States. So when we print more money, inevitably it ends up somewhere back over here. So you buy treasuries or you buy stocks if you don't have anything else to do with it, right? So that's what happens. It ends up getting put back into stocks, real estate, all investments, all assets go up when you print money, because as long as it gets out there and into someone's hands, someone's got to figure out what they're going to do with it. You only have so much money that's flowing back and forth in transactions, and then the rest of it's going into Nvidia stock or whatever, right? So,
Of which
so
I own none.
too bad. Well, good for you right now, because it's not doing so well. But it would have been nice to have some of that when it was,
Yeah,
which
sure.
is which is another thing. It's like, well, I mean, when you can make 10 times your money buying a AI tech stock, why buy crypto, right? I mean, you could buy Palantir, you could buy AppLovin, I mean, all these AI stocks they're going, 10 times your money, right? So way safer in the stock market. Liquidity is way better. And it's actually easier because you can just set up an account on Robinhood, and you don't got to figure out all this wallet shit. So my theory is that's part of what's going on in crypto, right? It's just really easy to do, the regular stock market stuff, way safer, and the risk is so much lower. So it's kind of like, I think it's taking away from what people would be normally looking at for those excess gains, because they're getting them in the stock market. um, that's gonna that right now looks like it's changing. Like if you look at all these big AI stocks, they look like they're topping out. They're basically struggling, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and so I don't know if we're gonna have this huge blow off top in crypto, like all of a sudden, you know, uh, the stock market kind of like dies down, and then all of a sudden people are like, well, let's start, I mean, they're already gambling on meme coins, right? But like, is there gonna be this huge blow off top in Bitcoin and Ethereum and that's kind of like the end of the bull run, and then we go down from there. Like that's one possibility, and that's what I hope happens.
So do I.
That's big, yeah. But like, there's also, when you look at what's happening with Trump, I mean, actually, he looks like he's not a kick the can down the road type of president. And then you look at what's going on with Doge, right? So the reality is, Ray Dalio, he's one of the best hedge fund managers, investors, economists in the world. I mean, if not the best. And he basically says, hey, we got to cut our budget deficit in half in the next 3 years, or we're screwed.
Hmm.
Because if you don't, you basically end up with this inflection point where your debt's going up at an exponential rate. And at some point, you're just bankrupt the country, right? So if we don't get that deficit down to 3%, what happens is nobody wants to buy the debt. Your interest rates rise, you get stagflation, and you get like you still have an increase in your money supply because you're basically printing money to pay for the debt, and you kind of you're risking like hyperinflation type situations.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. You want to say something?
I was gonna say scary as fuck. I don't want to take a wheelbarrow filled with my with my paper money down to the grocery store to buy a loaf of bread like in Germany in the 1930s. Like we don't need that type of situation here in the United States, and that's what everyone's afraid of. And then that's how the greatest meme of all time, Bitcoin, actually kind of found traction. Yeah, um I'll take the hard money argument. Like I understand that it was a technology that changed the world. Like I get all of that, but like I'm more bringing up in this exact moment. Whenever someone tells me the only thing that's not a meme is Bitcoin, I want to smack them and be like, Bitcoin is the meme, right? Of 21 million. But I hear what you're saying. Like there is definitely significant macroeconomic headwinds that this industry has been facing, but not just this industry. Like you said, you're a real estate investor. Look at the real estate market across this country right now. It is tough. I am definitely a person that refinanced in 2020. And now, like, even if I wanted to move, even if it made sense for me to move to another house, I've got the golden handcuffs of low interest rates. Like it doesn't make any sense for me to move from where I am now to the current interest rate. It's going to cost a hell of a lot of money, and that's definitely changed the velocity of the market. I mean, like houses are not trading hands. It's slowed down the credit markets. Like there's a lot of problems that we're having right now. So in our little niche world of crypto, yeah, if we're downstream from all of the real issues that we're having, like feeding ourselves, like
Yeah.
people don't have a lot of extra money for utility tokens.
Yeah, we're living in a bifurcated society. We basically have everyone at the bottom that's like struggling, and like can't even afford to buy meat at the grocery store,
Yeah.
and everybody on the other side that's got assets, and their assets keep going up, and that keeps driving spending and inflation. And so what you're seeing is like the companies that are serving the upper half of society are doing well, and the ones that are serving like the bottom half of society are not necessarily doing that well.
Yeah.
um so it just depends on where you are. And it's like yeah, like real estate is, basically the cost is doubled if you want, because interest rates and but the thing is there's so much money out there that you're basically just priced out, because someone's still going to buy that real estate because they need somewhere to park their money, right? And if you continue to perpetuate like a system of borrowing, it just kind of keeps going, you know what I mean? And so like those people are going to buy up all those houses no matter what the cost is, and they're going to rent it to you. It's like the money's got to go somewhere. So unless we have a recession, and it's not coming down, right? So it's kind of we actually need to have a recession. It's necessary. If you don't have if the stock market keeps going up, you're going to keep having inflation, because it's called the wealth effect, essentially. You got lots of money in there, and the stock market is essentially collateral. So you can borrow against that stock, right? Your stocks go up, you borrow more money, you buy more stocks, you buy more whatever. So if the stock market doesn't at least go sideways or come down, that inflation, that effect is just going to keep going. So, and the reality is we need a recession. And the interesting thing about Trump is, all the last presidents have all been kick the can down the road presidents, because it's not something popular as a politician. You don't want to deal with this massive debt problem. It is a not popular thing to do. But I mean, look at Trump. I mean, he doesn't care. I mean, he has been shot at. He's been through everything you can imagine before becoming president. To him, whatever is in front of him is like probably a walk in the park, So, I think that he's actually, you see what Doge is doing? They're actually dealing with this debt problem. So I think that they're actually going to cut the deficit in half. I mean, don't bet against Elon Musk, I'll tell you that, right? So, you got the most capable person on the planet inside of the government standing next to Trump, and he's like, no, he knows what's happening. He knows we have to cut this debt down. And he's like, yeah, we're going to cut the debt. The deficit is $2 trillion. He's like, we're going to cut it. We're going to cut it. I don't know if he's talking to Ray Dalio or what, but he's like, we're going to cut it in half. We're going to cut $1 trillion off of the debt. So the thing about that is that's $1 trillion of economic activity. That's, where's that money going, right? So if you redirect the money somewhere else, well, you're really just perpetuating the debt. So you can either get your income up or your debt down, or a combination of both, right? So I think the reality is that they got to cut that, and it's going to be short-term pain for long-term gain, essentially. So that's kind of what we're heading into, and nobody's talking about it. I haven't heard any economists. I haven't heard anybody talking about this, which is the weirdest thing. I don't know if they're just. I think what happens is all of the big funds and hedge funds, they make their moves first, and then they talk about it. They front run everybody, right?
Yeah.
So there is this big risk out there in the market that liquidity is going to start heading in the other direction if Doge is successful, and if China continues down the same path, because China, they need to pump another $1 trillion into their economy, and they're not doing it. So it's basically China and the US that control the liquidity.
It's one of those topics, right, where no matter how well you think you understand where the game pieces are on the board, there's going to be an informational asymmetry, because it's possible to get all of the relevant information to really understand what's happening, because some players are making moves, or it's like any good, it's even like playing a 10. I can't get in the person's head on the other side to truly understand what they're doing. I can only look at the available information in front of me and try to infer based upon observations what is happening, or what they're thinking, or what the strategy is that they're employing. In this case here, there's a lot of empirical data across all of the markets that people can try to look at and get a sense for, like, what are the moves being made. There's the rational moves that need to be made. Like you said, this is an apolitical statement. I'm not saying who I back or what I would even do, because I don't need everybody underneath my comments yelling at me right now, right? But like, on surface, decreasing the debt is a good thing, right? Like, we can't service the debt, so decreasing our debt is important, right? That's something that a rational person would want to do. Any household, that is literally something you probably should do, unless you are leveraging that debt and using it in a way that is making you more money, right? But if we're just taking on debt, and debt service is eating up all your available income, let's pay that thing down. The fact that in the world right now, like you said, we're not even like national news is like not even discussing that, just goes to show you that there's a rot there. There's something going on that is like maybe a little untoward. It's a little opaque, and we should keep scratching on it. We should keep scratching on it, definitely. And I'm actually going to say something here. Fabian this is LUKSO. We talk about LUKSO. Fabian often is like talking about Elon. And sometimes I'm like, Fabian wants to have a company that's like Elon. He wants to like change the world like Elon, but Elon's sleeping on the floor of his business, working every day. And like there's a reason why Elon Musk has maybe the wealth he has, or let's say the success he has across all of his businesses, because he's super invested and never walks away from them, man. The guy's willing to sleep on the floor to solve the problems. And like, yeah. So that's just an aside that I'll say. I think about it a lot, right? Like, yes, Elon's changing the world, but it comes at a cost. Like it comes at a cost in his personal life. You can't be going on vacations and be Elon Musk. You don't see him on yachts very often.
Yeah, I agree with that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, because I think about that sometimes too. It's like, hey man, if you want to be like Elon, you gotta give people a little more confidence. Don't talk about taking a break. Do not talk about taking a break.
Which I don't begrudge anyone from a healthy work-life balance. So like, I'm not trying to say
like,
don't have.
I know you're suffering and working your ass off, right? But you got to be, right.
Yeah, have a healthy work-life balance, but understand that there's a sacrifice that comes with this. That's why Tom Series has been coming out with absolute founder gold on his
account.
I'll bring that up in a second. Stuntman, thanks for showing up, big guy. Appreciate you. Alts, what are your thoughts around this general idea here that I just posed?
I mean, I think so. I think that's just kind of, going back a little bit, just like talking about how the macro and kind of where things are headed. It's like, is history destined to repeat itself? Right? Are we going to see the same sort of blow off top? I don't know if we even have retail in here yet. It doesn't feel like it, right? It feels like just that same lack of liquidity just sloshing around, right? And I feel like they've kind of maxed that out on the meme side, just wrecking each other, right? There's no more profits to be made on that, and that's kind of the part we're in right now. You were talking about housing too, and kind of just the overlay of these different dynamics, the interplay of. It was funny you talking about the Catan getting in somebody's head. I'm still taking notes, getting in your head about paper, rock, scissors. This is all alpha for me. But I think like BlackRock and some of those bigger institutions are offloading a lot of houses right now, and they're trying to get out of those sectors. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how those kind of dynamics shift and stuff. But that's one thing I've just come to realize. As a trader, as an investor, as just a human, is like everything is a market. Like literally everything. Human psychology, human emotion, it's all market based. Like you can literally see that the dynamics working on every level. It's so interesting. So fascinating.
Mm-hmm. All right. So check this out, alts, right here. I'm going to put this up here. This is Tom Series. Right. The future belongs to those who dare to imagine it, but it's built by those who take action every day. Okay.
Great one.
It's a great one.
He's got some great quotes. I love his stream.
Again, if you go back, but it like, as I started looking here, I'm like, damn, he's just like minting these things, he's mining gold, right? Or he's opening fortune cookies and just pulling these things out.
A lot of times I feel like he's talking right about LUKSO the whole time. I read one of his.
Well, that's when it's a good quote, is whenever every perspective that reads it can internalize it in a different way, right?
Yeah, hell yeah. Look at this one. It's not the big wins that define your journey. It's the small, consistent steps that add up over time. That takes me back to a message my father used to give me all the time. Like, listen, Craig, take care of the little things and the big things will take care of themselves, because I'm definitely a big thinker, and sometimes the little things become petty annoyances, and it required maturity to really grasp what he was saying to 16-year-old Craig, right? But like, it's no truer statement out there. And I'm actually going to turn this back to LUKSO for a minute and just say, the one thing LUKSO has been doing is taking small, consistent steps over years. And it's that organic progress which makes us like the train with a lot of momentum. We're not the we're not the fast moving light thing. Well, I could give you the physics on why that would be dangerous too, but let's say we are like a locomotive that is really gaining momentum slowly, but as it moves, it's very difficult to stop. And I know we talked about this before. People say, yeah, you're a small community. You only have insert whatever number someone wants to FUD us with. But those are super loyal, showing up every goddamn day to do something helpful people. And those are super fans. And it's hard to get super fans. It's really hard to get super fans. So
Yeah,
that's what I'd say.
absolutely. And I just hope we make it. You know, it's not easy to do what LUKSO is trying to do, right? So the economics are, you know, basically it's all about liquidity as far as driving asset prices, right? But we don't know exactly where that money is going to go either, because you know, money is not necessarily destroyed when you have a recession. It's like it just goes, like it flows somewhere, right? Where's the money going to go, right? And you know, hopefully it goes into utility, right? So you know, I mean, all these memes are going to crash hard. You know, Solana is going to tank, right? So when things are down, I think people start looking at, you know, where's the staying power? Where's the utility at? So,
Sustainability, exactly. That's where that
yeah,
naturally shifts to, right?
yeah, exactly. So I think, not financial advice, you know, it's just what I'm doing, but I think like right now is a time to hedge, basically. So you know, I have my positions hedged. If the market crashes 30% or something, basically I'll get a payout, and then I'll use that to buy more assets at rock bottom prices. So you know, there's kind of advanced strategies though. If you could really look into it if you want, you know, you can do options, and there's bear put spreads. That's what I like. I like bear put spreads because they're cheap and you can buy a year and a half out, you know, because these things take a long time to play out. Like if you have a recession or a depression or whatever, it could take a year or two, you know, for the chart to really go down. But I wholeheartedly believe in LUKSO. I mean, it would be a tragedy if LUKSO didn't make it. I mean, it is changing the game. And it like I think what Fabian is saying about, you know, we can have that Tesla moment is 100% true, you know.
I've been on this for a while, Dan. I've been saying, and again, I'm not unique in this in any way, shape, or form, but I'm on camera because I'm willing to put my voice out there of saying it's the app layer which is going to define LUKSO. Now, that is not novel. Any blockchain could have somebody out there saying that. But for us, like, I mean it very specifically in the way that every application that launches, because it is social by default, will build an extraordinarily powerful network effect. What we have lacked is the fundamental tooling needed for developers to go out and build these apps, because we didn't have what we needed. Now we are getting dangerously close to having all of the core infrastructure in place. And then honestly, you know, we were saying Fabian wants to take a deep breath. At that point, you could probably take a deep breath a little bit, because there will be enough tooling out there that anybody who wants to walk in can come in and build something that is meaningful for the entire network. Mini apps are just the beginning, right? This hackathon. So, I mean, we can judge later if it's going to be successful, but think about how many of them are you using for anything other than minimal DeFi, right? Honestly, you're probably not using any of these networks for fucking anything other than DeFi. LUKSO has a chance to be really differentiated in that way. We can have the economy that comes with DeFi, and we can add all of these other elements to it in a really neat way. Let me find the tweet while I look at this. Fabian said something like, when you put Web 2 and Web 3 together, you get Web 4, right? In the context of the grid. I'm not willing to start labeling webs up.
Yeah, I mean, but plus when you add 2 and 3, it's 5. Like, I mean,
the
come on,
reality is we're not even going to differentiate Web 2 and Web 3. We're just going to call it the web, you know, and it's just going to, and we're not going to even call them dApps anymore. We're just going to call them apps. You know, it's all just kind of,
yeah.
it's all just combining into this
Well, that's
more
we.
advanced internet, right? It's just giving more utility to what the internet can do, right?
I mean, that's we as in this space. We call it Web 2 and Web 3 because we understand
Yeah.
the difference. The average person, they
Yeah.
just see it as one internet that's just constantly evolving, right? They have no clue that there's phases to it, right?
Yeah, but in my mind, we're at this like pivotal moment where, you know, it's like, okay, the development has been slower compared to other blockchains because of what we're building, right? And also because, you know, the blockchain, the Luxo didn't get the hype that a lot of these other blockchains got in the beginning, you know, like Polkadot and, you know, a lot of these other big launches and they got like hundreds of billions of dollars or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like not that much, but billions of dollars in investment, you know. Basically Luxo's been like kind of bootstrapped in a way because it's didn't get like tons of money to start out with. And you know the budget's been tight, and it's a small budget and a small team for a huge project. I mean, it's a huge project, you know, and they're making do with what they have. And it's like the turning point seems like it's coming. I mean, the mini apps are awesome, and I mean, I don't know what you guys saw when you first saw this blockchain, but this is what it's turning into is exactly what I imagined when I first invested in Luxo.
Dan, I have the receipts on this one. Like I remember we were at dinner with some of the team in Turkey. It was a very, very late dinner.
Yeah.
And you remember that conversation? We were literally sitting at the table being like, we want a profile where there is the opportunity underneath it to plug in my favorite chat app or my favorite feed or my favorite whatever. We were literally talking about that. We're like, just give me a screen where I can just plug things in, almost like it's a MySpace. And I remember at the time we had a discussion and it wasn't like, yes, that's a great, like that's what we're going to do. It was more like, that's a really interesting idea. Lo and behold, you know, 9 months later, we're like, oh, there's the grid. And now I'm like, I've got the receipts on that conversation.
Well, that's the beautiful part about the decentralized nature of this whole thing is that it is alive itself. It can evolve and it can kind of find the market fit. Like whenever there's some virality that happens, which, I mean, let's be honest, a mini app is one of the best ways to get virality because it's just so easy to integrate, so easy to clone to your profile, so easy to play with and use. But then when you add that social layer on top of it, like, and that's what you said, Leith, like, yeah, we're kind of outside of Luxo, there's really nothing out there. There's DeFi and then there's shitcoin trading, and that's literally it. But even taking those things and adding a social layer and an identity layer on top of them, they become way more powerful, right? It creates this new currency, social capital. It just doesn't exist in the space yet. And then you think about like, what are ways that you can leverage social capital? And that's where shit gets really interesting.
Yeah, I just spent some.
I don't know if you guys remember
a message.
I don't know if you guys remember, but I have a conversation with you, like, I don't know, back in 2020 or something. And I was like, what? This is the first time I talked to anyone I think about Luxo. And I was like, what the heck is up with the marketing? I was like, the marketing sucks. And you guys came try to explain it, and Heath got a little bit mad at me, I think.
I mean, yeah.
And then
I made a lot of apologies that they didn't deserve.
And but the reality is that I think if Luxo had marketed what they have now in the beginning, and that they had actually put out this vision in the beginning, the price would be a lot.
They knew
the price would be a lot higher. And I don't know why. I mean, it's just, I think there was issues with the marketing in the beginning, but now, I mean, everything is lined up. You know, we're marketing what it is, that it's a social chain. You know, we got growthy out there, you know, so it's honestly, if you yeah, there's some issues in the macro, world, but if you're investing in blockchain and you find this project right now, and you're going to invest in shit coins anyways, you know what I mean? Like, you're, in my opinion, you've just stumbled across something very, very special, and that you just, great timing. If you're finding this project right now, I would say the timing is good, because we're at that pivotal moment where it's going to start to show. I mean, these mini apps are freaking awesome. This chain is freaking awesome. Yeah, there's problems, but it's not. It's viral. It's gonna, in my opinion, it's going to go viral. It's going to explode. There's a lot of FUD and stuff, because people. The problem is, a lot of people just don't have vision. A lot of people couldn't see with the vision of what LUKSO was going to be, and it was hard to see in the beginning. I think I'm a little bit of a unique person. I can see decades in advance, and that's a unique skill, actually. I've noticed in my life.
For sure.
There's not a lot of people that actually can just kind of see what the potential in things, and that's also part of the problem, is that we have to actually show people. They're like, I want to see it, so and that's coming. That's this year is gonna, like what Fabian said, it's gonna show, right? So if you're a developer or an investor or whatever, and you go on, look at was it Bitcoin King, or what is his name? He did that interview recently.
Bitcoining.
I forget his name.
He does
Bitcoining, yeah. He did a fantastic interview. Those guys did a great job. These are smart guys. I could tell by the questions that they asked that they're smart guys. And he's like, "Yo, this thing is awesome." Yeah, because it is. There's no doubt about it. LUKSO is, it's the real thing. It's decentralized. It's social. When you combine the social and the finance together, we're literally moving blockchain onto a new S curve, essentially, and people are missing it. People are missing it.
Agreed.
So I think that as long as the LUKSO Foundation and Fabian are willing to do whatever it takes, right, then we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it, and it's gonna be huge. Yeah. So, but yeah, we can get into a little bit more of these tokenomics, but in that interview, he's like, yeah, most undervalued blockchain in history. That echoes my sentiment. He said it. It's like, dude, that's what I'm thinking.
Hell yeah, man. Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
I don't. Yeah, and it's like, everyone's asleep. It's like, wake up. It's like you want to shake them. Wake up. They're all over there trading meme coins and fart coin and whatever shit coin. Because it's because of the dynamic, right? Like, we're in a risky time, right? This is like we're in a high risk time. People don't want to take long-term investments. And I'm just the kind of person that likes to take long-term investments. I like it when my founder, or the CEO or whatever, whoever's heading the company, is looking in the next 10 years out. I like to invest in companies like Facebook, for example, where he's like investing in AI, and he was getting his AI data center all set up and everything, and everyone was flooding the crap out of Facebook, and the stock market, it crashed like some crazy, like 70% or something. Everyone was talking about how Facebook was, the social network for old people and whatnot, and I'm looking at it thinking, like, dude, have you tried VR? Like, he's putting in AI in his data center, like, he's looking at the next 10 years out, and he's spending billions of dollars, because that's what you do when you're trying to invest for the future. So, our Tesla, for example, there's these companies that are they have the visionary leaders, and they're looking way far into the future. Those are the companies that end up, like Apple, Tesla, Facebook. If you want to hit, a huge home run, those are the type of founders that you want to look at.
Yeah, I agreed. And I, like you, like to think I can see the future a little bit. And Fabian, honestly, has been ahead of it from day one, right? Like, you go way back. He has seen kind of where things are going and has been ahead of the curve at multiple points. I hope that he is correct. I think the execution is the hard part. And,
Oh yeah.
I think if they had the full vision for what is being launched right now back in 2017, I think the problem was getting to this point. It was just really hard to get here. I wonder if they actually had that full vision because they were on the way, which is kind of annoying. And I mean, I'm allowed to say that. And if someone has their feelings hurt about it, then maybe that speaks to what you did, right? But like we had Mason Lux pop up and rug us, just disappear from the planet without one message ever about what happened. That's a lot of money that was spent. That was probably money that was spent from RICO funds or something attached to LUKSO with zero accountability. I'm all for experiments, Metaversal. Like, go ahead and have an experiment, take your shot. I'd love it. But like, that's also money when we're talking about small team right now and we're not able to get to where we want to get to fast. Like, why were we spending money in areas that we're not building core tooling? That's me Monday morning, like Monday morning quarterbacking or back driving. Like I'm not part of that decision-making process. I'm just the media arm, or actually not even, I'm just a dipshit with a live stream that's allowed to say whatever I want. And if you're upset with me, send me a DM, we'll chat it out. But like, I do think the general direction that was spec'd out in 2017 is actually was correct. Right. It was organically correct. And people like you, me, Alts, and others, lots of others see it and are still with it. I do think if you were just here for the investment portion, meaning like you were just trying to make money off the token itself, yeah, this has been a slog because if you didn't have the vision for where this was going, you didn't think, if you didn't believe in this future vision, then yeah, you got almost nothing out of this. In fact, you got things taken from you, and that was ultimately really painful.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know what you're investing in. You got to do your research. You got to know what because otherwise, you're just gonna, and hey, who knows? Maybe it doesn't work out. But when I see the price go down, I'm like, oh damn, just went on sale. And obviously, I don't want the price to go down to the point where that everything fails. You know what I mean? That's I hope that if we get to that point that we figure something out. We add more tokens to the foundation. You know what I mean? There is that the whole when we did I can actually bring up my screen here.
While you cue that up, I'm just because I had it up here, I sent you a message, Metaversal, on Soul Messenger.
Oh,
which again, you don't have to answer it now, but like,
how do I get that up?
If you go to my grid, I've cloned it there, and you can clone it to yours, or you can go to the Artisan Ally grid. Mine might be easier to find because it's easy to spell. But you can clone it, and this allows for real-time chat.
All right, let me do that. Let me do that right now. Let's see here.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you want to share my screen, I can.
Yeah, let me share.
Which one are you here? Let's see. Well, I'm following you. Probably pretty sure. So
yeah, look at this. See, this is what we're talking about. You're going to be able to go right to your followers or right to who you're following. You'll be able to get my profile because this is a social application. You'll be able to go right to my grid and get it. And what you're going to notice right away when you go down to the bottom under my grid is when you go to chat with me, it's all the way at the bottom. When you actually go to chat with me, Metaversal, it's that black square right above there. Right above that. Yeah, right there. When you actually go to chat with me, if you were on my profile, it's the default chat. You just start talking. What's cool here is, when we talk about the value of a social blockchain, what Fabian's kind of saying, we're putting a Web 2 context.
All right, let's see here. It should be at the bottom.
Yeah, when we're talking about a Web 2 context and a Web 3 context put together, don't worry about the actual terminology. I realize you got a context provider, which is Web 3. Just thinking about like where things are placed and how things are together, you can actually have this real-time chat application using universal profiles as the authentication, so you can chat directly with other universal profiles next to a Twitter feed that you have in there, or your NFTs, or an ad from Universal Ads, or like whatever you want. And it makes it so you can be social by having a chat in the context of universal everything. And at some point, someone might pop up and make a better chat app, and that is completely fine. We want tons of competition for better and better applications. Like ideally there's 10 chat apps, and all the chat apps are competing for the best user experience, because that just makes it better for the user on the end. So like if you're thinking, I don't want to use Soul Messenger because it doesn't meet the exact specification for decentralization that I would want, or it doesn't look right, or I don't like you people, don't use it. Build one, and then get people to try to use yours. Like that's totally cool. I think competition's great. It's called the free and open market. But you're not getting this on MetaMask. You're not getting a chat where you're able to talk to each other. It's just not going to happen, right? Like that's not happening right now, which is kind of cool. All right. I'm going to, because your
I
internet
think
slow.
because we're streaming, my connection's a little slow. That's why it's taking a while here.
Yeah, I'll add mine back, because I've got Alt said, how do you make holy water? Oh, good God. Terrible joke coming from Alts while you load that up, Dan. I don't, hold on. Just so you can see the real-time nature of this, I don't know. And if I had alt screen, you'd see that he's seen it immediately.
Yeah, I already got it immediately.
You boil the hell out of it. Oh, too funny, buddy. Too funny.
Sweet. You made a dad joke mini
All
app.
right.
Awesome.
I'm signing in.
Perfect. Signing in. So like, this isn't meant to be just a plug for Soul Messenger, which is obviously part of Soul, which is a project that I'm working on. This is meant merely to, this isn't a cheap commercial. This is instead to try to make people aware that these mini apps have a real opportunity to change or elevate this experience that we've all been looking for. Like we want to be able to interact with each other in the context of our, all right, Metaversal,
Dude,
right there. It's in, baby.
This is
Let's
awesome,
go.
dude. This is awesome. This is
So
like
to be
what we need
clear,
right
if people don't realize, so once you log into your universal profile and connect to this mini app, those messages like on the side there, only ETH can see those. Nobody else can see those. You only see your messages.
Yeah, I'll show Dan's screen so you can see that. He can only see the chat he has with me. He can't see everybody else's chats. This is private to him. Now, one area that can be improved, which obviously this is a very quick release to get it out early on, is when you hit new conversation, right now you have to actually add the profile address, which is not what we want. We'd want a fuzzy search there where you can index all the profiles or add a UNS name when that launches. But, you know, we're trying to get this out the door so people can use it. One thing that I know the Soul team, AJ, who's the lead developer, is a huge believer in. Launch
that'd
it.
be helpful.
Launch it, use it, let's get feedback, and then we'll iterate quick, right? Like that's like the main thing that we're trying to do. Right. All right.
Yeah, my screen's probably not the best to be it's so slow right now. I think because we're streaming, it's not cooperating with me.
Well, why don't we queue up the tokenomics? Oh, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah,
give me
no, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, let's see if this works. Can you see this? See if it doesn't, if it's not too slow.
No, I can see that definitely. Let me bring it up. Let me get this thing on a bigger size for you here. And while I'm going to step aside, you won't be able to see that I'm stepping aside, but just briefly, because I drank 2 cups of coffee. But why don't you give us a rundown on the tokenomics and what your belief is around kind of how LUKSO is positioned here, and then you know, Alt will be here, and I'll be back with a voice in just a hot minute. All right.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone can see this. So let me know if you're having issues seeing my screen here.
Oh no, we can see it, big dog. We got it.
Okay. All right. So basically, I wish that when we did the main net launch, that we had stuck more so with something more closely to the original tokenomics. I mean, the price back then was, I don't know, it was way higher. So there's no way we could have known that the price was going to drop this. Actually, $1.50 was my worst case scenario. Because when I allocate my purchases, I think about, where am I going to add tokens, right? So it's like, I was like, well, $1.50 will be like my last ad zone, right? And it's well, it's gone a little bit further down than so I've actually increased my allocation. And that everyone has to decide on their own investment strategy. But we originally had this huge allocation to the foundation, right? Like 69%. And then we went to the 42 million where it was reduced because a good reason though. We wanted to have a more decentralized network, right? However, now if the price does continue to drop, my hope is that we'll somehow be able to allocate more income to the foundation so they can continue building. So hopefully there's a mechanism to do that, and I believe we'll figure it out. I think as a community we'll come together and we'll figure it out because I want to support the building of this project, and I think if you're in this project, most people that are in this project, a lot of people have been here for a long time and they want to continue to support the foundation. But there's been a lot of FUD lately. We had Presto, putting out tweets, and saying like who's selling LUKSO. It's been sort of an ongoing thing. And see if I can pull up some of his tweets here. And he was like, you want proof? And he was like, at the end of the day, he didn't have any proof as far as what I can see. It was all just a marketing campaign to get attention, right? Let's see. There was one here that I thought he talked about where like he had 7 people from the foundation contacting him. Let's see. Where is that tweet here? Where is it? Here we go. He says a total of 7 LUKSO team members hit me up today. That shit is crazy. I made more noise on LUKSO in 2 days, blindly fudding than their 3 failed marketers they hired the past year. Okay. Well, to me, it just looks like he was just trying to get attention. Is that what your analysis is, Alt?
I mean, I'm not really paying attention to that stuff. I'm just
Okay.
focused on building and yeah.
You will always get alts. I'm back. If you're trying to get alts for a spicy take, he's gonna.
I was an attorney in an alternate life, so
Yeah, he's gonna find ways to be very diplomatic about it. What I'll say is, obviously, the price action has not been great, right? There has been an inkling that something I'm going to use untoward for the second time in this live stream.
Ooh.
That's something
hat trick.
isn't right. What I will say is, if you got something, just spill it, because when you are putting anime at the bottom of your tweets, or you're right, or you're obviously farming yaps, I can see it. I'm not a moron. I'm someone who is aware of how the space is operating right now. But there's lots of people who don't know how the space is operating, don't know that you're farming yaps, and it's just they're literally taking you at your word. So like I actually said in a private chat today, man, like I think we're at the show 'em portion of the poker match, right? Like we've gotten to the river card and Presto told me, no, we're just at the turn. So all right, fair enough, man. But like there comes a point where you bluff this hard. If you're gonna keep going, you can't get to the point, if you're going to be this loud about it, that you're gonna fold after the river and not show anyone your cards. Like show your cards. Otherwise, this really is a lot of noise that is very unhelpful.
I mean, I haven't seen any actual evidence, and I've heard a lot of people, talking about, if they're FUD and everything. And I always ask them, like, show me, right? Like where's the addresses, where's the evidence, right? And like no one ever has anything. So unless you show me something solid, it's just another guy. I've got nothing against Presto or anything, you know what I mean? But it's just,
Yeah, no, don't
it's just
press up.
it's just somebody, giving their opinion, and in this case, I do think that, you got to be careful though. I mean, about what you post, because you're building a reputation here one way, if you like it or not, um, and here we have Godfather. I don't know if he's joking or not, but he says, "I sold everything because of you. 1100 LYX gone." I mean, if that's actually true, that's kind of messed up. Okay, so I would say just be careful, because you never know what kind of what your actions, what consequences they might have, right? um
Sure.
and and I said, hey, next time, just show some nip. You don't need to.
Just slip a nip in there.
There's a responsibility for sure. The one thing I will say that I mean, I'm allowed to say this. I'm an adult. I have an opinion and I'll stand by it. The thought that Fancy, the foundation, would be dumping their tokens to somehow undermine their greater position as as a Swiss entity, like we are trying to steal your money by dropping our tokens on the open market, that would be illegal, number one. Two, I think there'd be a lot of blowback that these professional people do not want to have on their life. And knowing some of these people personally, it's not that's a villain arc in a fantasy realm that I'm not willing to go to. And
it's a lot easier to do that these days with meme coins. If you're going to scam, there's that avenue. You don't even need to have some elaborate.
I mean, what are we, Bond villains? Like, this is what's going on. I mean, the foundation sitting in Switzerland with golden guns and large jaws. I mean, this is not happening most likely, right? But like I said, I mean, show the receipts. Like most things, just show the receipts. Don't farm engagement, please, because it's not helpful. And as someone who has a voice in this community, the one thing I have learned is sometimes it's not helpful to just like start popping off at the mouth, right? Like there was a time period when Liquid was struggling that I was pissed, and so was Alts. I'm just way more vocal about how pissed I am about things, and it was not helpful. It actually was not helpful. I left a lot of private chats at the time because I was so upset, because I probably knew more than I needed to know and could not express that publicly, and it was really upsetting to me. And it just wasn't helpful. So learning that lesson, if you have reputation, if you have sway, if you have pull, you got to use it responsibly. You can't just farm the engagement of others without there being consequences, right? And I don't know what those first, second, third order consequences are. But you bring up a good point there, Dan. If we do have people who dumped their holdings because someone they trust is telling them that there's something going on, but they're not actually coming with transparency to the timeline, like that's tough, man. That's going to be a tough situation. I mean, I wouldn't want to be responsible for that, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and people post all kinds of crap online. You know what I mean? So I mean, you can't really take it too seriously. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind if you're following all of this action that's going on. Well, one thing I will say is that one of the things that I've noticed is Fabian over the years is actually how much he's matured. He's had some tweets that weren't well thought out in the past, but I remember in the interview I saw that he had recently, he's talking about, just a lot of life lessons that he's learned over the years. And I think part of the struggles is, it's not easy to be an entrepreneur. I mean, it is not easy, right? So like, if you have not been through that struggle, you can't judge someone else that's trying to figure it out. He's I would say, phenomenal, developer. And you know, maybe yeah, he just wasn't the best business person in the beginning, right? I mean, that's part. I think that's part of the struggle that we had early on with the marketing was it really wasn't well planned and well thought out, and that's why we had a lot of struggles, kind of. But then the thing that's nice is I can see it all. It just keeps coming together the way that I want it. You know, I haven't all this time I haven't seen anything that made me say, you know, I'm getting out. You know what I mean? Like, you know, even when Marjorie left, I was like, you know what? I'm not here for Marjorie. I'm here for Fabian. I've always been here for him. I believe in his vision. I believe what he's building. I think he was always building a social blockchain in reality. He had this, you know, thing that he wanted to do in this vision, and he figured Marjorie could take care of the other part of it, and you know that he could use that, and it didn't quite work out. I think really he should have gone with his own vision in the beginning as far as the marketing is concerned. Um, and but you know when she left, we went more towards his direction, and I was really happy to see that we're actually going towards the social. I mean, Luxo in my mind is the first uh, social blockchain built specifically for social applications, and it's freaking amazing. Um, and yeah, so but
Yeah, agreed, dude. Agreed. It is. It has a huge opportunity here. I'm just gonna say it because, like, um, you and I were DMing, and I bring this up because on live stream we got to be careful with our DMs. Both you and I had them up on the screen, and it's like Presto with some of his tweets are implying that there's issues with the foundation or the market maker or whatever. And that leads a lot of gray area for people then to try to insert, well, maybe this person is doing something untoward. That's the third time I've said untoward.
Hat trick.
Market maker. Maybe it's the foundation. But like I said, I don't think anyone's a Bond villain here, right? Like there's a lot of people that are trying to do the right thing on behalf of the network, whether they're employed by the network or they're in charge of being stewards of the network. And one thing that, like, I'm going to bring some levity here. Like, this is a good post from Prazen. He goes, negativity comes and goes, but here's the reality. Luxo and the ERC725 account teams are tirelessly building for the long term. So please don't let a single beta stage DApp, more of a standard on-chain identity framework that can be integrated into multiple DApps to allow users, creators, and brands to manage digital assets and identities more seamlessly in a self-custodial way. Define your perception of an S-tier blockchain. That was a oof.
All in one breath.
Despite market swings, our mission remains the same, delivering real utility and bringing new creators, brands, and users into Web3. Constructive criticism is always welcome, but groundless attacks only divert us from our mission to build a brighter future for everyone. That said, I'm incredibly grateful for the strong community that believes in our vision, provides valuable feedback, and pushes us forward. Stick around. Our best days are ahead. Prazen, agree with you. And the last thing he says is this. And to those spreading FUD, appreciate the free exposure. After all, there's no such thing as bad marketing. And I'm going to turn it back to Presto here and say, the one thing I can say about Presto, the guy, he understands how to bring attention to himself and his project, right? And he's sly like a fox in that way. And part of their brand over at Chill Labs is bad, right? Like literally being bad. Now, I'm not giving permission for anything that's going on that people might not like or people might not take offense to, but also understand the actor, right? And their motivations at the same time.
I mean, the thing that's ironic about I don't own a chill well, but the thing that's ironic to me is like when I look at the chill well message and what I think it is, it's hey, just chill. I mean, his tag says hodl, right? Like, isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Just chilling and hodling? And then it's like, you're doing the exact opposite of what your project is saying. It's like, what is going on? Is it trying to be ironic or what, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get it.
It's honestly, you're going to struggle to find the answer that you want there. And again, this is no attack or harsh words against the actors. It's merely just like, hey, this is news in the community because it's been friggin' everywhere, right? But let's be responsible with what we're doing. Please don't just farm engagement because people will interact with it. If you're doing that just to earn some yaps,
Well, what's interesting, like I was saying earlier, is like everything is a market, reputation is a market too, right?
Ugh.
Like, so I mean, it's just a natural progress. Like if for instance, you know, you're engagement farming to tell, I'm not talking about LUKSO, just in general, right? Say you engagement farm to FUD something just to get engagement and to earn whatever token or something, and then it turns out to not be true, and then everybody that took your advice sold the absolute bottom or something. Like, I mean, that's that's not gonna be great for your reputation, right? Like, so it's just interesting, I think, how that too is a fluid market.
Yeah, I will alts. And some of the critiques, honestly, that people make where they're spending reputation are not wrong.
Of course,
I mean,
yeah, of course.
right? Like, so, you know, Metaversal, he brought up like Presto talks about the marketers. He's calling them failed marketers. It's not to say that what's going on right now is going to fail or is a failure or there aren't great plans, because I've talked to Alan and I've talked to Alan at length, right? So like I know what they're working on. And like I know Alan's got a good heart and he's working hard, right? And they've got real plans. You can say previous marketing you didn't agree with and it fell flat. And like I can agree with that too. But to lump everybody, or to, let's say, to paint everyone with the same broad brush, that's tough, bro. Like that is a tough statement to make. And you can say it if you mean it, and no one's going to take it away from you. You know, we can respectfully agree to disagree. I just disagree. I think that honestly, we're in a better position now than we've ever been. We've got some great people working for the foundation. We've got some great people actually actioning real things at this point. Like, I'm sorry that the token price has taken an absolute kick between the legs, but like, this is just what it is at the moment. And, you know, further bringing negative attention in, Prozen says, well, no marketing is bad marketing. I don't know, man. Like, it would be helpful if like if we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot. You know, it's hard to complete the race with bullets through the toes, you know. That's
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on who you're marketing to. I mean, if you're just marketing to the average guy out there, you know, I think LUKSO, or even early on, is a really, really difficult a vision to market. You know, I mean, you know, it's like it's complex. And you know, Fabian, like, yeah, I know you were talking about how we need a salesman. You know, he's a technical guy. You know, he's not the greatest at, I would say, presenting the vision so the average person can understand it. And even if you can understand it, average person just doesn't have the vision. They just don't think like, you know, most people. You know, I don't think like most people. I've noticed that, you know, that I have a certain way of thinking. I have certain skills and talents, and for me, it's easy to see, right? But that's what I've noticed is other people, it's not easy to see. It's extremely difficult to see that vision, right? And so it needs to be broken down in a very understandable, very straightforward. You got to give graphics and pictures and examples, like what they did with the Mist browser. You know, they had that presentation with the Mist browser. You need
Yeah.
something kind of like that, but way better, right? We would have needed some kind of awesome presentation to show them where we're going, you know, and I think we're actually working on that now, something like that. So, you know, it's just not an easy thing to market to the average person. So, you know, we're in this situation where it markets itself. That's the cool thing. So you're just like, go to my profile, check it out, check out the mini apps. You know what I mean? You can see it now, right? You can see it now. So I'm actually coming up with some cool little marketing shirts that I'm going to be bringing to Denver. So
nice.
hopefully they
Nice.
get here in time, because I'm ordering them kind of late. So I have a couple little marketing ideas where it's like, hey, scan my profile, go check it out, you know. But
Dude.
I can get a little bit more into the tokenomics here.
Yeah.
Back to the Presto thing. So you can share my screen if you want. It's gonna look like a whole bunch of gibberish and numbers.
Yeah. There you
uh,
go.
I mean, and nobody's probably going to even care to understand this, but you know, I've done my own sort of token analysis, and let me be clear that some of this information is wrong. potentially, and some of it is, assumptions and speculation. So, you don't look, do your own analysis, right? But
Hold on. Ready?
basically,
Ready? Check this out. Here we go. Metaversal.
wait, let me see what is going on here. Oh no.
Oh
Hold
wow!
on, let me
Whoa,
go back.
Inception.
I didn't
Not financial
I,
advice.
di- I,
Inception.
I didn't see what you posted because I'm looking at my screen.
I'm just
Did you
flashing
message me? Is that what's going?
financial advice repeatedly on the screen right now.
Oh yeah, right. So, I mean, I've done a lot of looking at, addresses and stuff, and I'm not an expert at analyzing blockchain financial data, which I would like to get better. I probably need to find some tools where I can, plug in an API or something and have it kind of like do tracing for me and stuff like that to really figure out what's going on. Because I mean, even when I was doing my taxes, like, I've got all these transactions going everywhere, and it's just one person now. Even I can't figure out where all my money is going. I'm like, where the hell did this 2,000 go? And like, it's so when I'm looking at, what LUKSO is doing, and the cool thing about blockchain is it's all transparent. You know what I mean? So I don't have anything on my screen that anyone else couldn't figure out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm not an insider, right? I don't have access to any of, LUKSO's, inside financial information or anything like that. You can just go look at the transactions, and you can go look at the history, and you can figure it out. So that's the cool thing about blockchain. It's fully transparent. But it's very difficult because you got, I mean, they're an organization, right? And they've got multiple accounts, and they've got stuff going to payroll here, and, I'm over there, and, um, there's all these different accounts that I don't know what they are, right? It's not like they're labeled, right? So I can only break things out like basically and say like, okay, like this is how much they're spending, right? And does it seem reasonable, right? So what I noticed was, over like the first 3 years, they spent about $4 million a year or so, right? And then recently, they've been spending potentially somewhere around $5 to $6 million, and that's very, I would say, somewhat speculative, because it really depends on. So what they do is they have certain wallets, right? Where they hold their funds. And but how do they raise money to pay all their operations and payroll and everything? Well, they got to send money over to the exchanges that sells the tokens for them, right? And so there's all this money in the exchanges, and I can't tell how much of it belongs to LUKSO, right? How much of it is the average people, and how much of it is the exchanges. And so if to do that, I probably would have to get like some kind of software helping me out, or to have to really dive deep. And I might go further into that, because that's really like my factors can like swing by huge margins depending on how much of that belongs to LUKSO, right? So I just said, like, you know what, I'm going to assume that it's 50%. That the exchanges are, what they're holding is like 50% belonging to like the LUKSO Foundation, and that's what they're selling to pay everybody and stuff. And so what I come up with is, and I could be totally wrong. And then there's also probably other wallets that they have, funds in that I'm not even counting, right? So there's, and who knows what that adds up to? It could add up to 500,000 tokens. You know what I mean? So that's another thing that's kind of like a wild card. But I mean, I've looked at like every single top transaction, top 100 wallets, and mostly what I'm seeing is everyone's just hodling. I mean, yeah, you get people selling here and there, but I mean, I think basically, if you wanted to sell this project, you had plenty of time to sell. The migration was July 4th, 2023. So they released the tokens, and they gave tokens to the advisors and to the early seed investors and everything. And if you wanted to sell, you would have been way better off selling back then, and you had plenty of time to sell.
Mhm.
My thinking is, you know what, most of those people that were going to sell probably already sold. And I might be wrong because market factors are always changing. So if you're like a big, if you're smart money and you're following macroeconomics and you're thinking we're going into a recession or depression, I'm selling everything, fine, But I mean, if you've been holding this long, I mean, are you really going to sell now when it's like $1.50 or $1? It's like when things are the worst, when you think everything is like, in the depths of despair, that's usually the time that you go all in,
Yeah, when
not by
the old
natural
adage,
advice, you know what I mean? Like,
when there's blood in the streets,
yeah,
right?
when it feels the worst, you know what I mean? Like, that's usually when you want to buy the most.
I've come to understand. I mean, I've come to like really truly understand that. Like when I feel like crap, I look around and everybody else feels like crap. I'm like, okay, we're actually in a pretty good spot now. You know?
And for a while there, I was like a bellwether for pumps, because the second I got pissed and said something, the token would be like, "Beep," it would go up. I was like, oh, well, apparently
I mean,
not
honestly,
financial advice.
I thought that the price was fantastic at $5. I was like, wow, that's a great price. You know what I
Oh my
mean?
God.
And now that it's like, $1.50 a dollar, I'm like, yeah, that's an amazing price, but I don't want it to keep going down. It's got to stop. Let's go the other way.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
um,
So I'm going to take a second there and just ad lib, because we're all going to Denver. What the average community member probably isn't not aware of is like all of the amazing things that are going on that are like bubbling just below the surface. And it's not that the average community member can't know about it. It's just that you probably aren't in the LUKSO developers telegram, right? Because you're not developing, right? So you don't see all of the people talking in there. And that's like a really cool space. And you realizing that there are things that are bubbling. And you're like, if you're not going to Denver, maybe you are unaware of the panels that are coming up, or the presentations and the TLDRs at the end by projects that are using the network. There are really cool things that are happening, and our growth team is working super hard, and our marketing team does have campaigns. It's just, it's not like right in your face and in this cesspool, which is your timeline at times due to algorithms. It's really easy to be fooled into thinking nothing's happening, right? I
yeah,
guess that's what I'm saying. It's
yeah,
really easy to be fooled into believing that's nothing's happening. Just jump into a
Right.
random general and you're gonna get the sense right away that nothing's happening and this place sucks, because the loudest voices are the people who are bitching and complaining. And it's so easy to discount positive voices because they just call them fanboys. That's not the truth. Like, I mean, come on. Like, some people are actually working hard and have some, not, let's call it insider knowledge. Let's call it like trade knowledge, just because you have to
Right.
interact with people due to partnerships and planning. And it's like, come on, if you guys were if the average person just got a little bit more involved, you would have a little bit more knowledge. You'd feel a little bit better about what you're doing. What you're voicing when you get really angry is the sense of despair and hopelessness, because you're not actively doing anything.
Well, yeah, if all you're doing is just sitting there in chats and looking at a chart, you have really no idea what's actually happening, because it's a totally different thing. Like, as we've seen, price movement is one thing and actual development is another thing. Like they usually align in the end, right? But not always. They take some time, or sometimes they can get out of whack, right? Like we've currently seen. But if you literally just like spend the time to really understand the infrastructure, thinking about like, are the building blocks in place? Like, yeah, right. It's been years, but it's like they've constantly been shipping things and we're still moving in the right direction. Yeah, we've kind of changed pavement, right? The direction is still, yeah, that great one, perfect. But it's like we're still moving forward, right? And it's like, yeah, we've made adjustments along the way, but they're still working and grinding and building, and that's just, yeah. I mean, every time I look at the fundamentals, I'm still just like, okay, feel good. Like, yeah, there's been some bumps along the way, but what project doesn't have those? I mean, nobody, right? So like, you could have. I mean, I think if like Ethereum, if they were to launch at the same time and be growing today, like they'd have the same troubles. It's like that's just because it's like builders versus just gamblers. Like that's the two dynamics out there right now, right?
You
Yeah.
got sweet feels, man. You got it.
Got him.
You got
I mean, I put out a tweet. It was LUKSO is 0% hype, 100% utility, basically. I mean, the fundamentals are strong. They're that. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's all fundamentals. And am I a fanboy? Yeah, I'm a fanboy. But I mean, that's what you want. I mean, look at these
Right.
companies. Look at these companies like Apple and Tesla. I mean, some of the companies,
Yeah.
the most successful companies, they have huge
Yeah.
cult followings.
Yeah.
And why? Because they're freaking amazing companies. There's a
I mean, it's
reason.
great. It's great to believe in the product that you want to use.
And
Right.
the
Yeah,
people who are developing the product, right? Like it's okay to be a super fan. Super fans are what every good company needs. You need
that's what
to
you
know
want to
the product
see.
is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
want to see super fans. I mean, that's going to drive your marketing. I mean, look at Tesla. They didn't have to do any marketing at all. I'm going to ETH Denver and I'm not getting paid for this. And I'm going to be a marketing LUKSO.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's what you want to see. You want to see. And that is the cool thing about this blockchain
Yeah.
is that it is a viral thing with the social aspect of it. When you put your money and social together, there's nothing more powerful.
Right.
This is such a powerful force, and it can definitely drive LUKSO to the heights of success. But back to the tokenomics real quick. Let me just get through this.
Yeah. Here you go.
So basically, you know, I I think that based on my earlier analysis, LUKSO was spending about $4 million a year. And my current analysis, I think they're probably spending somewhere around 4 to let's say $7 million a year. So maybe we can say somewhere around 5 million. It really depends on, like I said, what percentage of those exchange tokens are LUKSOs, right? But when I break it down, I say, okay, they've got 20 devs, they've got 10 admin essentially, and I'm not sure if the LBG has more employees. Like I've heard like 40 employees, I've heard 30 employees. Like recently Fabian said I've got 30, but I didn't know if he was just including his side of the operation, and then excuse me, my alarm's going off, and then LBG was a separate type of employee pool. So I just said, hey, you know what, I'm going to say they've got 35 people working. I don't know. Do you guys have any idea how many employees? Does that sound right to you?
I can tell you that I have no fucking idea how many employees they have. It's a very opaque organizational structure. Like it's very hard to tell who's doing what. And for years, without going too deep into it, that pissed me off because I'm like, you've got people who are working for you that don't even have any visibility, but they're supposed to have visibility. I don't understand what you're doing at all. And I've even sent messages to that effect and was told, ETH, shut up. So, I know nothing. That's what I know. Zero.
Okay. Well, I mean, transparency has been an issue early on with LUKSO, and that has hurt, I think, the price. And blockchain is supposed to be transparent, so I think they're doing a way better job now. I mean, like they at least did like an interview where they showed the office and they went to Fabian's home, and they've done a lot more to improve the transparency. They're improving communication. You know what I mean? I think Annalisa is doing a great job. So and for the longest time they didn't do like any ask me anythings, which is like a lot of other blockchains do. I think that should be maybe a little bit more. We should maybe have Fabian come in more where you can just answer questions. I think if he would have just done that, that would have helped a ton. But I still see things just go inching in the right direction, and the further along we go, the faster it's going. So that's the cool thing. Fabian posted that video of the kid that was picking up the balls and going back and forth, and like it looked like he was going to lose, and in the end he wins. Well, that's LUKSO right there in a nutshell. We're going, as we further we go, because our foundations are strong, like we're accelerating rapidly.
Yeah.
But basically, what I calculated here was that, they had 35 employees, and I said, okay, so like, what's the labor cost? Okay, about $3.35 million. That's reasonable. My numbers might even be low. I'm saying 110,000 for a dev, admin 75,000, LBG employees 80,000 a year. My numbers might be low. Who knows?
That's
right?
okay. I'm flashing speculation nation on the screen. That's all
Yeah,
good.
that's right, speculation. And so I'm saying like, well, okay, like the labor costs are somewhere around like 60%. Like that's probably okay. Like, you could get to like 80% labor costs. You know what I mean? Between 50 and 80% labor costs is probably reasonable. I would say, their operating costs could be a little high, at $2.4 million. That office is got to be expensive. I mean, it's a nice office. It's got to be expensive. So that's probably a lot of cost right there. If they wanted to cut back on costs, that's one place where they would look to cut. But, I don't know how important that office is to the operation, you know what I mean, to attracting, because a lot of times it's like, like you're attracting talent, you got a nice place to work, you know what I mean. It's a really great office. It's fantastic, has a community place, so if you're an outside, community member, you can come in there and work with the team and stuff. So I'm not saying that it's not important, but that's it probably is expensive. But I don't see anything that like makes me think like red flags, you know what I mean? They're out there, they're wildly spending, you know what I mean? They're going crazy, you know what I mean? Like, they're embezzling all our money or anything, you know what I mean? To me, it just looks like a normal business operation, and they've got to pay their developers, and they got to pay their staff, they got to pay for their operations and marketing, and they got to pay for their office and everything. And I mean, the reality is it's a really big project with a low budget that, hopefully the price, people wake up, and the price starts to turn around. And I think that we have a really good shot at that happening because now you can see it, you can see what they're building. You can, the average person can actually go in there and look around and be like, hey, this is pretty cool, So I think we're at a, Fabian said it's going to show this year. I think he's absolutely right. I think I mean, hey, I saw it, years and years ago. So maybe people still don't get it, even though, they got these awesome grids and everything. But I did this video. It's like, okay, maybe I could just do this live real quick. See, who was it?
Just don't show any nudes.
Or just a couple. Just a couple.
So
Can I drop nude pics in that chat yet, Eth?
While you're saying that, while you're finding this
I
Metaversal,
think that's what we need.
Yeah,
dudes, we got a long way. While you're pulling that up, I want to pull this up from Annalisa.
Okay,
And Annie says, community is everything. You need your people. And you're right, Annie, right? Like, so Annalisa is the social media and marketing person at Fancy, really kind of came on after the first of the year, let's say. Annie's plugged in DJ, good person, helping us with an event that we're co-sponsoring in Denver, Alts, right? And she's spot on. And like, here's the deal. We've got some people in the community that are, okay, let me give you a visualization. I'm thirsty, right? Just come on this journey with me. If I'm thirsty, I can lay down on the ground and open my mouth and hope to God that rain enters my mouth and I get fed. I get my thirst slaked, right? And so many people around these utility coins are like, I'm going to position quickly. I'm going to open my mouth. I'm going to lay on the ground and hope to God alt season comes and I get a drink. Meme coins provided some agency where now you don't just have to lay on the ground. You actually get to be a participant. I can like buy it and try to out trade you. And it becomes more of like a less of a spectator sport and more of like, I'm actively trying to get a drink, but it turns into a Lord of the Flies. We're all fighting over one bottle of water, right? Either. The point I'm making here is, and to your point, Metaversal, you're going to Denver and you're going to market this for free. Community is everything. And if the community the hearts and minds of the community are one. It's that word of mouth marketing that you can't pay for. And it is the fucking strongest. And that is what we're trying to build around this. So before I turn it back over to you, because I know you got something queued up, I was saying, you said like, well, you referred to a tweet I put out where like this blockchain needs a salesman. It's not the blockchain needs a salesman around like, this is the technology, isn't it great? Because we've got a great salesman doing that. His name's Fabian. Like no one gets it better than him. Founder marketing is the best you can get. The guy's got all the credibility in the space. You need the salesman that's like the hearts and minds guy who's going to go out there and win the hearts and minds of more community members so they come on board to help you market. And then, right, like they'll, through their connections, bring more people on and market. If you look at our existing community, how much of our existing community was brought on just because of the constant, what could have been conceived of at times as a distraction, Twitter spaces that were not sponsored by the team, but how many people were brought into this project through the just word of mouth belief that a community member has that spreads to another community member. And that's the salespeople we need. We need the people winning the hearts and minds of more community members, believing in the organic nature of the project, believing in a better Web3, believing in a social blockchain. You're not going to get that by being like, our context provider is the greatest mini app, LSD, wizardry magic, right? Like, it's like, yeah, developers will like that, but like, that's a specific kind of outreach as well. If you're worried about the general dipshit who's buying a couple tokens and you want them to create a grid, you got to win their hearts and minds. Wars aren't fought by telling people they have the best guns. Wars are fought by the people on the ground running into gunfire, right? Like that's how it happens. You got to win the hearts and minds. All right. Now that I've said my piece, sorry, I had to get that off my chest. It was burning.
I mean, Annalise is doing a fantastic job, by the way. I think she's doing a great job. I mean,
yeah, she's great.
She's great at running the Twitter spaces and everything. Yeah, we are the salesmen essentially.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Her, on Jordy, they're all crushing it, man. They're all crushing it.
Yeah.
All right, you got something queued up for me?
Yeah. So I did this little thing. This is a really cool profile. Let's check it out. You see my screen now?
Yep.
All right.
So Alex is actually, he's done a lot of the artwork for the ERC725 account and LUKSO, right? Which is amazing. That's what you're bringing up here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he has some really cool stuff on here. I mean, look at this profile. I mean, it's beautiful. Look at that. I mean, you would if you came to this site, you would not even know that it was Web3. You would not even know. You'd be like, oh, this is like a pretty nice, professional-looking website. Displaying. This is what LUKSO is all about. Advertising yourself, advertising your brand, advertising as an influencer or whatever it is that you're into, right? It's basically like a link tree, on steroids essentially. And I mean, look at but it's not just a link tree. It's way more than that. It's way more than that. So this is really cool. And then he has this complete portfolio, all projects on Behance right here. Okay, so it's like, okay, this is Universal Everything. Let's go to his other portfolio.
If I had the Jeopardy theme, man.
I know my computer is running so slow. So now you can see it's not just the LUKSO network. It's just my computer in general. All right. Okay. So
okay, we got Behance here. Yeah.
All right. So here it is. All right. And if you look on this on your phone, it actually looks almost exactly like Universal Everything. But he's got a profile here, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I would argue that the Universal Everything actually looks better.
Yeah.
But he's displaying all his artwork and everything. Yeah.
My singular gripe about Universal Everything is let me use the full friggin' screen, please. Use the full screen.
And so it's very similar. He's got his links and everything. Yeah, this is very similar to Universal Everything. And do you know how much this sold for to Adobe? It sold for like let's see if I can
Billions.
remember.
Billions.
No, I think it sold for like 150 million or something like that. And back in, I don't know, a long time ago. And
Yeah, but after
like,
inflation today, what's that worth?
yeah,
It-
so 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 LUKSO's sitting at like, like 60 million. And so that's just, you know, just something that I thought was interesting, to say like, hey, and Web3 and Web2, the value proposition is way different, right?
Mhm.
That's one of the things about blockchain is interesting is if you're a validator and you're making, I don't know, 7-8%, and interest rates are, you can make 10% if you're gonna go into like like bonds, corporate bonds and stuff like that. You take on a bit of a risk, but you could beat the rates that what you're making here for way less risk in the stock. If you go to the corporate bond market. So what's the value proposition, right? Well, like the value proposition is really the network effect, right? Like, and that's why Fabian keeps talking about like, is this thing gonna grow and we're gonna get the users? Because like that, the activity and the users and people coming up, I mean, it's addictive. When you get out here, you just can't stop yourself from spending money, right? I mean, the interesting thing too is when you look at, I think when you're looking at crypto, like and you look because it's not actual showing you dollars, like it's kind of disconnects you a little bit from like, hey, I'm actually spending real money here. Actually, for me, I'm a little bit different. When I spend one Lux, I'm like, oh, that's probably spending $1,000 because that's what I think it's worth.
My future self is gonna punch me in the face for this one.
Not financial advice, by the way.
But no, it's interesting to even just like looking at the Behance thing is like, okay, well, you can do some similar things. You can message and follow and look at art and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's most definitely centralized. So it's like you can't really go anywhere else there, right? As opposed to like the rabbit holes we go down, even on the stream, clicking from one profile to the next grid, to the next grid, and you can go into so many different things. But by staying in this decentralized nature, where all your activity and stuff, and you're building reputation and experience and things like that you can't do on Behance, obviously, right?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I think that LUKSO does need is like one page that is uniform across all the grids, right? Because when you look at some of these, why did
Right.
Facebook do better than MySpace? They made things simple. What you don't want to. One thing that's a little bit is like, I don't want to go to everyone's so much different, and I don't want to get lost and like overwhelmed by people's different. Right now, it's like an experiment. We're trying to figure it out, right?
Well, it's like the early days of
Yeah,
MySpace.
yeah, exactly. But I think as time goes on, it's going to just keep getting better and better, and we'll
Sure.
come, and anyone could build whatever they want. So you could build a replica of Universal Everything where everything has its spot. So when you go to that profile, you know exactly where things are going to be. So. But hey, any questions?
Questions? I don't know. I got statements.
Anyone have questions in the audience?
Yeah, we got no questions here, but we got people popping through to say hello. You definitely convinced Sweet Feels at one point to load up on some more Lux. He said, "Thanks for the ready from Norway, right for you. Thanks for the financial advice. You're now responsible for that Metaversal for the rest of your life." Awesome. This is one we've never dealt with before. Love LUKSO. And Tossie says, "Great demo. Fantastic. Love that." And Sweet Fields is laughing at you.
Thank you.
The one thing I'll say, which is kind of cool, you just showed Alex's profile there, and it's like this could go in so many different directions, but one way that it feels like it wants to go right away is if we have that buyable NFT standard, and I know for a fact that Amir with some mini apps just made it so you could buy NFTs directly from people's grids. But if we had it so it was a really well thought out user experience where a grid could act almost like a Pinterest board, from that Pinterest board, I could then purchase collectible art or pieces of work directly from people's grids, and it was done in a way where the purchase, the economy of the economics of it weren't like punching you in the face and ruining the aesthetics of the grid.
Right.
It would be like, I mean, it would be really addictive. It would be super addictive. I mean, Pinterest is a very large product. I mean, Pinterest is something people use a lot. We are not far from that. The only thing that separates is, again, we got a lot of people laying on the ground with their mouths open, hoping God that and then bitching and complaining that God didn't provide rain for them instead of going off and trying to find a source of water at the moment. Like, that's kind of what we got. We are getting more people who are willing to look for water, and that's like a kind of important and necessary thing, honestly, at this point. Yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah. All we got, like, all they get is salt water.
From their salty tears. Hey, I got something for you quickly, Alts.
Yeah.
Just look at the screen. So,
Okay.
kid says, "I'll call you later."
You're breaking up.
What do you think the dad says?
Oh, the kid says, "I'll call you later."
Yeah.
He says, "On toward your mother."
Toward your mother? No, dad says, "Just please call me dad."
That's like if a dad joke had scum growing on its heel.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
All right. So you got Prozin's profile up, Metaversal. Or you're flipping around a lot here. What are we looking at?
Well, I did, yeah. I was just looking at my other profiles to see if there was any other ones that I know there was a couple other ones that are really good, but I can't recall them off the top of my head. You guys have any ones that you want to show off?
Well, you're actually showing something very important there. You know, I said just let me use the full goddamn
mine if you want. I've been working on it. I'm gonna be doing this.
Right, like I want them to let me use the whole screen. That's what I want. I want LUKSO to just let me use the whole screen. Just let me use the whole screen.
Oh, just scroll. What do you mean? What do you mean? Scroll out. What do you mean? I don't understand. Oh, like this, oh, the sides too? You mean oh, I see what you mean. Well, I mean, no, because I mean,
yeah.
Is this, and no, I mean, really what you want to do is you want to build for mobile, right? So like that's one thing that I noticed is that I can't even edit my grid on the mobile app. So that needs some work, but we'll get there. But I mean, I don't know if they did this because they're thinking about mobile or what, but I mean, really, that's what you want to build.
It does look beautiful on mobile. If you haven't had access to the mobile app yet and pulled things up and looked around and felt this, or if you haven't been to Universal Everything in a mobile browser, go there, check it out. It does look gorgeous. But me looking at this right now, even if you zoom in, you zoom way in, you got to zoom way into an unnatural zoom to like get to a point where it takes up a large portion of your screen and you still have too much padding on the side. Like it's our margin, much margin.
Yeah. But I mean, that's true. At the same time, you don't want it to be too noisy, right? Like you want it to look clean, and if you have too much out everywhere, then it looks like messy,
I'm an American. This is too trending for me.
like I thought that this looked better than the Behance site because I guess it's a matter of preference, right? I actually like to see the white spaces. I want to see a clean look, so I think it's more a matter of preference. I don't know. What do you think, Alts?
I mean, yeah, I'd like the ability to push my things to the edge of the screen if I wanted, right? Like, I think the ability to curate things a bit more, and maybe this is the base, right, where it just simplifies it for people.
Are you not agreeing with me, both of you? Because if you are, you're both being removed from the stage.
I am agreeing with you for sure. I would much rather have the option, hands down.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe I'm sure we'll get there. I mean, we got to put stuff out there, and then
for sure
make corrections along the way and figure it out.
Well, Fabian told me we were walking through the park and coming back from an event in Thailand. He said, "Nope, I don't want to give people the option. I don't want messy screens. Like, I'm going to curate the look." Which, hey, I appreciate it. Like, he's got a vision, and you're right. Some people really appreciate it, and on mobile, it is gorgeous. But that's probably the first thing you notice if you open it on mobile. It's absolutely gorgeous.
And yeah, and that's what matters in the end.
Yeah. Me, I want to put some really gaudy backgrounds on.
You just want to overwhelm it.
And I will overwhelm the eye. Right, like I gotta get a moving gradient. Yeah, no, this looks great. I mean, you're just showing it off. Like, I mean, you've been putting some time into that. Don't look at my grid. My grid has 0 work done to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this thing for the ETH Denver where you scan the back of my shirt and then like it'll take you to my profile, and then I'm gonna like I'll have like some messages on the profile. Hopefully they like like it pops up. So it's gonna be like it's gonna be fun. Hopefully it works out.
So you'd be a walking billboard.
Exactly. So I still got to get the deliveries over here because I'm kind of like last minute doing this.
I like the walking billboard piece. So Alts is also, he loves being a walking billboard as well.
I've literally had stuff on a animated backpack before. Yeah, no, it's just.
Are you gonna bring the animated backpack?
Do what?
Are you gonna bring the animated backpack?
Oh no.
All right, Modes, you have to tune out of the lines of the live stream as well. Says he likes the current layout, looks clean. That's it. Anyone who doesn't agree with me, you're gone. Leave. Nope.
Win dark mode.
Oh, well, only psychopaths like dark mode.
ETH, I sent you another message.
Oh God. On my okay, hold on. Let me pull this bad rider up here. Hold on. Zipping now I gotta zip across to the share this tab instead. And boop. You sent me the
oh, what the hell? It didn't translate.
Oh, you sent me a peach. What's this
that
one?
Looks super weird. That does not look like that on my end.
Interesting. It's probably, I mean, it could just be a browser issue. It's probably a browser issue on my end.
Well, yeah, maybe it's just like that's weird. Yeah, here, I wonder. Let me show you in our chat.
Okay.
That's what I sent.
Oh, Dippleganger sent me a message. Yo. We are having fun.
I do have a question. What is that Souls tab thing right there?
Oh, so that is a great question. When agents are alive on the network who have been arisen, who have been awoken, you will be able to filter the human profile from the agent profile so you know who you're talking to. And then we'll probably have another little filter tab that says all, so you can mix them all together if you want, but it's just for user experience. Right?
Nice.
You might want to talk to my agent.
No, it's awesome.
Agent Butthead. Hold on one second. So Tossie says, can you demonstrate viewing a profile with current Web2 socials, X, Instagram, YouTube, etc.? Do we have one of those profiles so that we could get on the screen here?
I mean, I have mine. My computer is running a little slow, but I only have two. I've only got two socials really, which is X and YouTube. So
you X and YouTube. Do we know anyone that has like a really Alts? Do you have Instagram on yours as well?
Yeah, the link should be on my.
My computer's running a little bit faster than yours, so I'm gonna take the handle here for a second. There, Metaversal.
Yeah, you can see it.
Why don't you pull up Alts then?
You mean like within the grid?
Yeah, I got it up. Yeah, within the grid. They want to see.
I just have a YouTube.
Do you know someone who has the context? All those contexts work together?
No, I did, but I just didn't really like. I don't care enough about my Instagram and stuff. But actually, go to vids real fast. I'll show you one thing cool that I figured out.
Okay.
So check this out.
This one's for you.
This is YouTube, but I figured out a way to make my own sort of playlist there. Look, like I have LUKSO, fashion, and short films. Like you can click on the different, and I can like curate specific videos for each tab.
Oh, no way. That's great.
That's pretty sick, right?
Yeah. Hey, have you ever seen, hey, Tossie, oh, look, so check this out. This is word of mouth right here. Plays live from YouTube, direct from up. Yep, it does. I'm going to show you that in a second. Mind blown. Thank you guys. Shout out. Look at this. Metaverse changing lives on the live stream. All right. So have you guys ever seen Alts's suspense concept teaser?
Well, let me preface it if we're gonna play it. So
Yeah, let's play
I just
it.
wanted to use it as like a challenge to myself, like what I could accomplish in VR without spending any money and shooting the whole thing in VR. So not buying any assets or worlds or nothing, and then all by myself. So it was a bit of a challenge to figure out, how to stylize it and accomplish something that would feel like it came from an actual, existing project, like a little teaser, like a trailer. So that was kind of a challenge I put out to myself. It was pretty fun.
All right. So let's say you stumble upon Alt, his grid, and you are flipping through and you get to the vids and you're like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? If you click the button, it opens a player in the grid.
I don't know what else you want me to tell you. It's coming. For each and every one of you. There's no stopping it. It will find a way inside. Your plan is to run, to hide, to just disappear. You're gonna have to get more creative than that. Let me leave you with a piece of alpha. It will be a lot less painful if you just turn out the lights.
The creepy little clown.
How do you make these videos? That's cool.
And that one was tricky because I had to, like I said, it was all by myself. So I had to figure out, I was every character, and setting up a camera and then going and shooting it all in VR. But it was actually it was a cool experiment. And then beyond that, like I ended up doing a premiere of it in my On Cyber like virtual world that's on chain, and a bunch of people showed up, and then I made like that little icon at the end that said Klon on it, like I made that into a 3D asset that I minted. Yeah, that thing that I minted on chain, and I gave it to everybody that showed up to my premiere. It was pretty cool. Like, and that was, kind of had to be piecemeal together. Like, but something like that on LUKSO would be that much more streamlined and easier, and would give you a lot more utility and stuff. But yeah, anyways, I was just trying to, think of more future, like how can we do, interesting things with media and entertainment and stuff like that. But yeah, it was fun.
Can I watch this in VR?
You could watch it in VR, sure.
How?
Well, I mean, it would just be playing on a screen, like you would
just
be in a
YouTube?
theater. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
it's
it
not
wouldn't be.
it's not like an immersive like.
It's not an immersive. Yeah, it's not. I didn't shoot it with like a 3D camera or nothing. Yeah, no, it was all in VR.
Oh, I see. You use the VR tools to do it though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I only used free worlds and characters that I could find.
Yeah.
Again, so cool though. Where do we find it? We're finding that underneath Alta's universal profile right here. Right. So like, again, we've got this. I don't love the idea of Web 4, but I do love the spirit behind Fabian's kind of tweet the other day. Like, we're taking Web 2 and Web 3 and we're mashing those things together, and we're kind of blending where one ends and where one begins, because right next to this, if Alts wanted to, he could have a mini app that is actually being powered by blockchain rails. right? So in the case of his wall here, he's got something that is Web 2, right? You're going to go and you could follow him on X, but right underneath is a mini app where you could actually, if you wanted, if I was connected, I could donate Lux to him, right? I could jump right in here and do that, which is cool.
Yeah, if you wanted to type like 1,000 and hit donate, you could do that.
Yeah, I totes could.
I actually helped Amir put this together.
Oh,
Well,
you
I
did?
gave him
Awesome.
I gave him some suggestions. I was like, you got to do a shrimp, you know.
Oh,
'Cause,
nice.
you know,
Oh, on the GIF emoji
I was like,
guy.
okay, you got to make the whale expensive, and you got to make the shrimp super cheap.
Super funny. Yeah. Oh, did you try to send me boobs?
That's what I had sent. Yeah, it didn't translate for some reason.
But I mean that's where all of this is going, right? The you know, the metaverse, virtual reality, right? I mean, like that's why I'm like super pumped for the VR, you know, like, you know, buying assets in virtual reality, and you know, um, especially as AI perpetuates, like what we have here is going to be so needed, because like
Oh, for sure.
how do you distinguish, you know, a human from an AI, and what are people going to do? What are you going to do
They
when
have no clue what's coming. Like,
okay, so when you have, you know, all of the labor is replaced with AI, all you know, look, the humanoid robots are doing everything for you. What will people do? Right, we're going to spend our time socializing. We're going to spend our time in virtual reality environments and socializing.
that's what we do
This,
now.
well, but it's going to be on steroids. You
Oh,
know,
for
it's
sure,
going to
for
be,
sure.
yeah. So I mean, and virtual reality is going to get more. The headsets are going to get more comfortable. You know, people are going to spend, you know, their life in virtual reality, and this blockchain technology is exactly what you need to power this environment. You got to have virtual assets, you know, ready player one type status. You got to be able to buy your assets in these games. You got to be able to, you know, have your identity, and you know, you're going to have your house and all of your stuff, and you're going to flex your NFTs. I mean, yo, this blockchain is built specifically for this use. That's why my name's called Metaversal. I mean, that's why I love this blockchain. I mean, it is the blockchain for the metaverse.
You're absolutely right. And like Tossi says pretty accurately here, LUKSO doesn't have to be the thing that makes it go viral. It's going to be the app, right? That's built on that metaverse, right? In that enables that metaverse that's going to end up sending this thing. Could be a mini,
Yeah.
might be something more immersive, might be
Yep.
maybe a massively open role-playing game or something like that that would do it. I don't know. Could be really cool.
Yeah, LUKSO is just the technology to allow the apps to build on top of it. It's the base layer to allow the apps to do the cool stuff that they want to do. And that's the cool thing about LUKSO, is it allows the apps to do to whatever their imagination can come up with. They can do on top of LUKSO, and they're not restricted. There's no restrictions.
Mm-hmm. You're damn right.
Yeah, if you want to slip a nip, you can do it.
I thought about it. I'm not going to do it.
It's not that kind of programming.
I think our usership will go to 0.
The viewers are leaving. Oh my god! I can't believe I just saw
Yeah,
that.
maybe we need alt to do it. Maybe some virtual nips will.
You're asking for it, buddy.
I mean, if you want me to take them out.
Oh god. All right. Oh god. This. Oh god. Alts. Oh no.
Let's just do this show.
I think we got the virtual nip slip. Sweet
You
heels.
need to change your skin.
Slip it.
You got a better skin there.
Tossi says, I think streaming and ownership will crack the code. Currently, it's more entertain. Oh God, alts. I don't want to see that. You are being inappropriate.
Am I?
Yeah, yes, you are. You're being inappropriate. You're going to be banished. So Tossi says, I think streaming and self-ownership will crack the code. Currently, streaming is more entertaining than movie or TV shows people watch. Aiden Kai, Speed. Gotcha. And you might be watching us right now because we are very entertaining. Look at Alt, just throwing it down. Look at that. You're like dancing in Charleston over there. Is that what you're doing? Ding, ding,
Yep.
ding. Sweet Phil's getting a kick out of it. All right. Well, we've been going for 2 solid hours right now. Won't be memes. Yep. And maybe we'll throw this up here towards the end because this is a great tweet. Let's pull this up on the board. Look at that, because that is something that needs to be viewed. Last cycle, those who do not manage their risk will have the market manage it for them. You know, real Chad. And it's pretty true. I'm not gonna lie. I feel embarrassed at times when honestly people know what I do and they go, "So how's that crypto thing going out? I heard about fart retard coin." Like, how do I even explain what I'm interested in when that's what you think I'm interested in? This is going to be a painful discussion. Yep, you're right. Creator. I mean, that's what we want. That's what's spec'd out in the white paper, Tossie, is this idea of cultural currencies. And that's certainly what we're like reaching towards. Someone's got to do it in a way that makes sense. That's not Cardi B rugging your ass or or someone else. Someone's got to do it in a way that it actually makes sense. I think LUKSO actually does have an opportunity to showcase what's possible. But we're not there at the moment. We're certainly not there. Oh, alts. Okay, sharing it.
It's so good. Yeah. We need sound though.
Hold on, working on
from the beginning. Yeah.
Working on. Damn it, I got too many things going on. Hold on. Here we go.
Oh, hi, is this a CRM? Good. Yeah, okay, so in January, I bridged my staked ETH from Arbitrum to ZK Tendies bridge, and then the bridge depegged mid-transaction, so I had to panic swap. Then I staked it in the Mommy DAO for some good boy points. Well, it's soft drugged. Soft drug, that's like, when the devs disappear, but the Discord's still active. So is that a write-off or no? Oh, okay. Okay. So what about, so I staked ASS, and ASS is a coin, ASS coin. And then I got some wrapped poo, and I put that in a hyper compounding elastic rebasing yield farm. But then I had to hedge with an inverse perpetual. And long story short, I got liquidated at 3 a.m. when someone from the dev team front ran me with an MEV sandwiching bot. So is that a write-off or? Oh, well, I was just wondering, since I don't have any money anymore, like I don't owe any taxes, right? Hello?
Oh man, doing your taxes in crypto is a nightmare.
Oh, it's brutal. Absolutely brutal. All right, let's see. Okay, this is now we'll end the show on a more serious note. When we're in Denver, one of the events, it's just before the LUKSO Day event, is this APAC DAO cross LUKSO event, the Asia Pacific DAO, right? Because that's a market that is being targeted by the growth team as like obviously an area we're very underexposed. Like we obviously are exposed in Europe because that's where the team is. That's where the team has done a lot of marketing. We've got, I think, a good US and Australia community that's pretty strong. I think that's largely because we're from the US and like there's a number of voices that were onboarded on. Wow, my brain. We got a number of voices that are onboarded. No, we got a number of voices that were onboarded early and we're really, I don't know, let's call it like Alt, you're a pretty influential clone. You have a lot of followers, a lot of Twitter spaces, a lot of people came in around that. And like I know we used to run spaces at night too, which crossed over with Australia. So like there's these strong communities there. One area where we're super underrepresented is definitely in those emerging Asian markets. And that's something that Jonathan who is the head of growth over at Fancy, is like really keen to solve that problem. Really vibrant communities, lots of investors, a lot of developers. So this is actually really cool. US Asia Community Day, and LUKSO's a part of this with APAC DAO. So Metaversal, I think this is actually really, from a tokenomics perspective, from an investment perspective, this is actually really good signal. If you stuck with us for 2 hours and 10 minutes, we're giving people who are paying attention some really good signal here as to what is kind of coming, what LUKSO is working on, right? So this is a really cool one. That's going off on February 25th, right before LUKSO Day.
By the way, I'm going to be there on the 23rd, and I'm going to be, if anyone wants a roommate for one night, hit me up. We can get there. It is kind of expensive if you want to get a hotel right next to the event, but if we bunk up, you know, it helps cut that cost down. So just send me a DM on Twitter.
Yeah, awesome. And Alts was looking for an additional room for all of his lip balm. You know, he's a
Where did that even come from? I'm so confused on that.
I don't know. Annie was asking if anyone has a lip
You
balm.
just threw me out there.
I really am looking for it. And I don't know why I've started responding to Annalisa with ridiculous comments, but don't need to tell her that you sold lip balm. Also interesting in Denver, we've got Lucian, who is the managing director of the foundation, and Annalisa are DJs, performing DJs, Web3 DJs, and they are bringing some energy to the opening night of ETH Denver. So they're both actually playing, which is really cool. And
cool.
yeah, and we are. I'll spill a little tea. We're
A little alpha.
KEEZ along with Fancy and Nolcha is actually a partner there as well in this event now. We are filming a documentary. You call it a documentary, right, Alts?
Sure.
Yeah, filming a documentary on Web3 creators, specifically DJs. So we're hosting a very limited event on the 26th, where we're bringing DJs in, asking them questions, getting their stories, filming them behind the scenes there at our event, where they're going to play a live set. It's kind of a chill hangout day. And then also maybe getting some footage from things like this opening and closing ceremonies, plus others. And then Alts is going to work his wizardry, putting together a really slick little marketing piece with more to come from it. So that we're also doing that in Denver. So that's pretty cool. Metaversal. I bet you didn't know that.
Yeah, that is cool. One thing that I would like to do would be interview some of the other luminaries, or that's one thing that we're actually trying to do is as part of the effort for the luminaries is like do some interviews with other luminaries. So I was thinking about maybe doing it at ETH Denver, although I'm not sure how I'm going to get the two-way video going. I'm not sure if that's something you guys could help me out with. I do have a camera, but you know, it's only pointing in one direction, right? So
one thing that we discussed doing was doing some quick hits on LUKSO Day and doing some interviews by setting up a live stream. And it would be great because, like, my voice, I can only listen to myself talk so much. So if you want to do some quick hits, we've got the software and maybe some cameras and some mics. If you want to do some quick interviews as well on the live stream, Metaversal, hopefully we can set it up if you're willing.
Yeah, if anybody wants to be a part of that, let us know.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yep, send a DM. Let's see. Tuesday says, I'm looking forward to this. My last year was pure meme coin gambling madness, talking about going to talk to his tax man. And Angel D says, can't live stream YouTube to up. Watch Alts do this a few months ago. Yeah, we've got to fix that live streaming capability. But Tossi's 100% right in saying if we could live stream from our up, we'd be doing it right now, right? We'd also be live streaming there as well. All right, 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's a longer stream than I was anticipating this morning. However, I do believe that we did it. You guys got anything left to say? Anything left in the bag you've been holding on to?
Yeah, I can go on for hours, but I think we can cut it off.
I do have I gotta take a call.
We got to
With,
save something for next time.
yeah.
True
I gotta
that.
hop on the call with Arda, who's one of the co-founders over at Soul. We got some things to discuss. So we're running out of time here. You guys ever see the movie The Warriors?
Of course.
Warriors. There was a
Come
video,
on and play, yay.
there was a video game for Xbox 360, which was The Warriors, and I rented it one time with my buddy Crowley, and we would run around, and you could basically just beat the snot out of other
It was great.
best. You know, you never know when you want to beat the snot out of a random NPC.
I think I haven't seen this. This must be an old movie. I gotta check it out.
It's super old, yeah.
Dang.
It's classic. Look at Sean Penn. Tearsy says, love this game. You're absolutely right. Oh, he's got it in his retro arcade. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Super addictive game. I love the flying cross body block where you just take out a row of people. That was my move.
We still need to have some streams where we just play retro games.
Yeah, it'd be great to get more people involved playing retro games too. Like the
Yeah.
retro arcade is where it's at. You know, not everybody's one of these young guns out there who is playing these super fancy games. Get me into the 16-bit world and you'll see some
Yeah.
over years.
Just streaming right from the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you want to get on the stream, send Ethelorian a DM. That's what Metaversal did. Took me up on the offer, and we've had 2 hours of fun today.
Yeah, it was great. Great kicking
Yeah.
it with you.
Good time.
I see the
Well,
clock ticking.
So before we head out, let me ask you guys a quick question. You know, just talking about how cold earlier and thinking on that side of things, like what is the difference between a snowman and a snow woman?
No, the bad jokes.
You can never have too many.
I want to go with the obvious and crude comment of the snow genitalia. However,
Well, there's a PC version of that. You're dancing around it.
all right, hit me with it.
Let's
What
hear
is it?
Snowballs.
Ah,
Yeah, you were in the park.
Of course. Obvious. Yeah.
I was in the ballpark. Do you guys
Your gutter mind was actually onto something there. It was good.
you ever wonder what Voldemort would look like if he was a handsome gentleman with a nose?
And hair.
Because we're showing you.
That's pretty cool.
I'm a big fan of pencil drawing.
Massimo. That was my name in Italian class.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I never got an opportunity to have a cool name in any one of my foreign language classes because Craig is just kind of Craig.
It's
Nice word, Craig.
It's bilingual or what?
It's just Craig. Just
They were like, Alts is not Italian, so we need to give you a name.
we got to give Alts a name. He doesn't even have a physical presence.
Because it could have been Altimo.
Altimo. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have any. Yeah, Altimo.
What the hell?
Sorry, now we've fallen down the Twitter rabbit hole. How stupid can people be? That's the commentary.
Well, it'll be funny one time at some point, whenever you have like fully decentralized social media platforms like a YouTube, in the grid. That way we're just scrolling through grids and earning like fan tokens as we watch these things, right?
Yeah, that'd be the best.
Now we're using the universal ads to make some cha-ching.
Some cha-ching. You're damn right. Would be great. All right. Tossie says, great show.
All right.
Thanks
for joining us.
All right. We're going to rip the Band-Aid off. Metaversal, thanks so much for joining us today. And, looking forward to Denver, getting some chances to meet in IRL, raise some hell together.
Yeah.
Are you going to the main event?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You have
I'll
tickets
be
to the main
there.
event?
Yeah. You're talking about the opening? You're talking about the VIP opening, or what are you talking about?
I'm talking about just the main event space, ETH Denver, 27, 28th. Going to listen to some talks.
Yeah, I'll be there from the 23rd. Right now, my flight leaves on the 1st. I don't know if I'm going to. I could extend that out if I want to leave on the 2nd. I'm thinking about maybe doing that. So, but yeah, I'll be there most of the time.
Any interesting side events?
I thought that the free snowboarding thing looked pretty cool. There's like free rentals. I haven't been snowboarding in forever, so I don't know how I'm gonna handle it.
Oh,
But
super fluid. Yeah, just go hit a couple boxes. Don't fall and break your arm.
I don't even know if I'll even hit any boxes. I'm just gonna charge down.
Yeah, I'll watch it from the bottom. The 0% chance I'm strapping anything to my feet. Even though I do snowboard well and ski well, I'm gonna minimize the risk that I'm taking while in Denver.
There's a Meow Wolf thing that looked pretty cool. I've never been there, so I thought that might be kind of cool. And then there's a lot of like music. I mean, there's all kinds of events. There was the go-karts look kind of interesting too. So I mean, there's a lot going on, but yeah, I'm actually haven't even looked at them all yet. I've just kind of signed up for a few of them.
Yeah, the one thing I know is that there's always do it like Tony Hawk just on the snow. Thanks, Tusi. The one thing I know is there's always more events than you have time. Period. Right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at myself in my screen and I'm like, damn, I gotta do something before I go to Denver too. I'm starting to look like a hobo. It's like
And we won't be able to recognize you. No one will know who you are.
I know, clean it up and people have no idea. And that's what my wife said. My wife's like, are you gonna shave? I'm like, listen, it's Denver. You don't have to shave. The beard is the second you fly in, a beard grows. Yeah, good fun all around. All right, well, gents, are you holding on to any jokes for us at the end?
I won't pain. I won't give you guys any more pain. There's been enough pain today.
Rip the Band-Aid off. All right, then what I'm going to do is we're going to move to the outro here, which is the if I can find it. Yeah, one day I'll actually figure out all of these views. All right, I'm going to move to the outro screen here, which says thank you, and then we'll get to the feeding the ducks.